States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to come together tonight. Guide and direct us as we consider the issues that lie before us and help us to act on the best benefits of the citizens of Boonville. Amen. Amen.
Roll call.
Ehlers.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Evans.
Here.
Meadows.
Here.
Beach. Hurt.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Thank you very much. Hearing of citizens' comments. This is the time if you have some comments you'd like to make. We ask that you come forward to the microphone and speak into the microphone. Come right ahead. That you sign the record there. There's a piece of paper. Sign your name and what ward you live in, and you have 5 minutes.
Mayor Thatcher, City Council members, and Boonville citizens, good evening. My name is Pat Holmes. I have lived in Boonville in the First Ward for 45 years. Tonight, I would like to speak about 313 East Morgan Street. The 1825 residential building at this site, an L-plan vernacular early settlement structure, has already endured a trial, a conviction, a sentence, and soon an execution. All carried out with utmost surgical precision and correctness. I offer its obituary. 313 East Morgan, the Stall House, was recognized by the Historic American Building Survey in 1936, an early residence worthy of being recorded. The venerable local son, Charles Van Ravensway, identified the building. As many of you know, Van Ravensway was a young man who was strongly guided and influenced by Boonslick's famous antiquarian Lilburn Kingsbury. Van Ravensway became the state supervisor of the Missouri Writers Project, producing Missouri, A Guide to the Show Me State, the iconic chronicle of Missouri's historic sites. And it laid the foundation for the Missouri National Register program because it was an earlier survey of the state. Van Ravensway went on to become director of the Missouri Historical Society in St. Louis, Missouri. Later, he headed the Winter Tour Museum in Wilmington, Delaware, where he was regarded as a nationally known authority on history, historic furniture, and architecture. He authored several important books on Missouri and its German heritage. I say all of this to let you understand that Van Ravensway was good at discovering diamonds in the dust. Boonville is an historic place. Little by little, tangible remains of this heritage are being nibbled away. It's in such terrible condition, they say, and so forth. Do we think there is an inexhaustible supply of built environment dating from the early 1800s? Have you seen the before views of colonial Williamsburg? There's a proverb that the poor are the friends of historic preservation. They cannot afford to gut and rehab. Many owners of the older building stock of this city are trying to survive by renting them. Yes, there are problems with old buildings. There are problems with landlords and renters. But we have a Historic Preservation Advisory Commission that can assist with technical expertise. There's a city planner. There's a building inspector who is charged with securing the structural integrity of Boonville buildings. There is a Friends of Historic Boonville. There are realtors here serving those wanting to buy historic buildings who are talented. There are also talented and experienced local tradesmen. Those involved in Boonville's built environment need to work together to obtain maximum benefit to the city in its budding cultural heritage industry. This building was surveyed March 14th, 2015 by Tamara Inge, who is presently serving on the Historic Preservation Commission. and Jean Royer and myself, Pat Holmes, past members of the Historic Preservation Commission. A copy of a report resulting from this survey is here tonight, and a copy has been given to Tamara Inge, who will give it to Kari Evans as the liaison with the City Council. But I just urge you, as caretakers of our city, that we must be careful not to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Any other citizens' comments? Mike Shoup will be here. He's running late, so if it's all right with the council, we will just, when he does get here, we'll let him make his comments then. So, okay. So, yes, another, oh, okay, yes, another comment.
Stan Baker, Ward 2. I'm just quickly going to run through a list of things. There's a house at 214 High Street. It's the Nimrod Rector House. It looks like it's a historic building. Work looked like it had begun on it. It's looks like it's the work has come to an end. There was a plaque in front of the house that's been cracked and it's lying on the ground. I'm just wondering if it's receiving any kind of funding and whether that process, that renovation process can be pushed along. It's a nice house, It's in really bad shape now. It's not too long before it's going to fall down. And I'm wondering also, another point, can the water department at some point implement online payment of the bills? Now, this relates to this lady's comments. I really believe that the Boonville should take a hint from Detroit, and rather than help the property owners restore their property or give them some kind of backing or financial aid rather than bringing them up and fining them, so on and so forth. And last, I'm really concerned about the camper buildings and particularly the asbestos issue. Those buildings are deteriorating so badly. They're in terrible eyesore to begin with. They're deteriorating so badly, I am sure asbestos is being released throughout the neighborhood. Take a look at them. It's so obvious, it's pitiful. Asbestos, carcinogen, cancer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Baker. Any other comments from citizens? Seeing none, we will move along to approval of the minutes of the March 16th, 2015 council meeting. Those were in your packet, and you've had the weekend to look at those. Any additions, corrections, questions? If not, they'll stand as presented. Consent items, we have none this evening. Presentation of accounts and claims. Teresa, when you are ready for that.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the City of Boonville, which have been allowed by the Council at the regular meeting thereof on April 6, 2015, the sum of $760,004.14. General Fund, $429,508.26. Sanitation, $34,769.26. CIP tax, $11,333.53. Waterworks, $68,557.53. Capital projects, $2,103.59. Wastewater, $96,688.65. Tourism, $5,017.75. Gaming, $112,025.57. Parks and Water, $0.00. Section 2. The bookkeeper is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $760,004.14 being the total amount of money appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on April 6, 2015. Read for the second time this 6th day of April 2015, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Becky? Questions, comments? Roll call.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Unfinished business. Item A, second reading of bill number 2015-012, approving gap storage units development at 1640 West Ashley Road.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving the gas storage units development at 1640 West Ashley Road, Boonville, Cooper County, Missouri, providing an effective date, therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Morris,
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kari. Questions or comments? Megan, did you want to comment? I know Mr. Beach had some questions about floating foundation, and there was supplemental information on that in this packet. So did you want to comment on that?
I really don't have any comments on it. We did receive it. Billy Weibel's here this evening to answer any technical questions, along with Steve Haig. They do have a proposed landscape and erosion control plan. We all have seen the site. We know the site. We know it's going to be a pretty good slope, and they'll have to work on it for a while. We all kind of get that piece on it. But they do plan on putting trees. They're going to try to establish some grass. They may have to find some other alternative flora to put on that slope to get it nailed in, but they've got a pretty decent plan here, and if anybody has any questions, the technical folks on the floating floor are here to answer those questions.
Does anyone have any questions? It was discussed in depth at the planning and zoning, the floating foundation, so. If not, then roll call.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Item B, second reading of bill number 2015-013, approving David Barton, yes, thank you, Billy. David Barton Elementary School parking lot improvements at 814 Locust Street.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving the David Barton Elementary School parking lot at 814 Locust Street, Boonville, Cooper County, Missouri, providing an effective date, therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Becky, okay. Discussion? Megan, did you have any comments you want to make?
No, we have received all the information that we were pending on this, including the parking lot lighting plan, so it's being presented for full approval. We did have a interesting alternative stormwater management plan that engineer Ben Ross proposed, had some significant discussion about that, and so we're hopeful that that process will work and has given us an alternative idea on stormwater detention.
Mr. Ross is here if anyone has any questions on that. Any questions at all? Okay. Roll call.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I see Mike Shoup just walked in the door, so Mike, we will let you come forward if you would now. And so I know you're a busy guy, and I attended a regional planning commission meeting, and Mr. Sylvester was there with MoDOT and talked about this. Mike Shoup was there and talked with the board about the importance of trying to get some things done on MoDOT. So they have an idea, and Mike would like to share that with us this evening.
Well, thanks for having me this evening. Everybody's got a packet, right? I promise not to go over everything because there's a lot of information there, but I will definitely hit the highlights. But first of all, let me give a little bit of history. I'm the area engineer for a 5-county area in the Central District, which includes Cooper, Boone, Callaway, Montauk, and Howard counties. So I am the contact person for MoDOT for basically any question anybody has. So where are we at? Over the last 10 years, MoDOT's construction program, which is our STIP for an acronym, Statewide Transportation Improvement Program, has been about $1.1 to $1.2 billion. And those are projects that we let through our letting process where contractors like APAC, Emery Sapp & Sons, bid on that work, build a bridge, redo a road or whatever. So that money has come a long ways, and we've done a lot of work over the last 10 years, but that money is going to the wayside. Like I said, $1.1 to $1.2 billion. The reason we've had that many funds was due to Amendment 3, which was passed in 2004, which was the diversion of some motor tax revenues. Those monies were restreamed back to MoDOT, and we let bonds with those projects. So we've made a lot of progress, but where we're at today, in 2009, we actually had $1.3 billion in our construction program. Last year, 2014, was $700 million. In 2017, which actually is July 1st of 2016, we're going to be down to $325 million. That's not enough money to take care of the system that we have. We have a huge system of 34,000 miles of road. The reason we have that many miles of road is in the 1950s, for a 1-cent gas tax, the legislature agreed to take in all these farm-to-market routes, these double-lettered ends, your low-volume routes came to the state system for a 1-cent gas tax. So we've been paying the price ever since. Do we spend a lot of money on these supplementary roads? Maybe not as much as, well, definitely not as much as we would like to, but we don't have the money to continue to maintain them as we have in the past. Missouri has I believe it's the 6th largest system in the nation, 7th largest system in the nation, funded at the 46th level. You can see on page 2, page 3, how much money MoDOT spends. We're at the bottom of the list in blue. New Jersey being number 1, we're at the 46th level. That's not a good place to be. 70% of our money, the majority of our money, comes from a federal fuel tax, which is 18.4 cents, and you pay 17.3 cents at the pump, state gas tax. So that gas tax has not increased in 20 years. Cars are getting better and better gas mileage. People are not driving as much as they were. And quite frankly, the price of concrete, steel, and asphalt have more than doubled. So the 17 cents of gas tax we have at the state level basically has about 8 cents of purchasing power today. So it takes more and more and more to maintain the system we've got. We've come up with a number that is $485 million is what we believe would take to maintain the system in its current state today. But we're nowhere close to that. We're at $325 next year. So that's why we come out with a campaign, Tough Choices Ahead, and we've told everybody, told our legislators that we don't have the money to take care of the system, so we've decided that we're going to take care of our primary roads, which is defined by law, and there's 8,000 miles of primary roads in Missouri. So that $325 million that's in our construction program will be spent on those 8,000 miles of road. At least 26,000 miles of supplementary roads and bridges for our maintenance folks to maintain to the best of their ability. And it's going to be a patchwork quilt. I'm sure everybody's been down a road that they think needs to have some attention, and there's nothing we can do about it until something changes. So it's not really us, but it is Senator Leibler came up with an idea of a 2-cent gas tax, which is Senate Bill 540. It is passed out of the Senate Transportation Committee already. We don't know if it'll be heard by the House, but we hope it will. But 2 cents can be passed by the legislature and still stay underneath the Hancock limits. When the Hancock Amendment was passed, it limited the amount of taxes that could be raised by the legislature without going to a vote of the people. So we can get 2 cents of gas tax by the legislature approving that, and it doesn't have to go to the vote of the people. Is that a fix, a 6-cent gas tax? It is not a fix, but it will continue to allow us to maintain the system that we have. With the $325 million construction program in 2017, That means we do not have enough money to match federal funds. When you pull up to the gas pump, you're paying that 18.4 cents gas tax. That money goes to Washington, D.C., comes back to MoDOT in the form of a 4-to-1 match. For every $4 that the federal government gives us, we have to match it with $1. So next year, let me back up just a little bit. Our STIP is a 5-year rolling program. It's 5 years of construction projects that are on the books, and we update it every year and add another year to it. Take off the year we just completed, add another one to it. So we're actually programming out right now for 2020. So we're programming only projects that are on our primary system. Bridges on our primary system, Interstate 70, I-63, 50, roads like that. $325 million, we do not have enough money to match federal funds. So in fiscal year 2017, we are actually going to turn back $167 million in federal gas taxes that you paid at the pump in Missouri. That's not a good thing. If our funding system stream does not change at all, the year after that, we lose $400 million, and it stays at $400 million. Once those monies are gone, there is no getting them back. So we were excited when Senator Labla came up with Senate Bill 540. Don't know if anything will happen, but we were excited because it has got people talking about transportation. And the thing about getting a bill through our legislature is this is a good year to do it because next year is an election year. It's hard to get any sort of a tax through the legislature on an election year. So it is gaining some steam, but it's not a fix-all. But we have told our legislators, we've told everybody that if this 2 plus 2 plus 2, it's actually 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus I. Let me explain that. That's 2 cent gas tax for 2017, 2 cents for 2018, and 2 cents the year after that. And then it would be indexed to the consumer price index. So as the consumer price index would go up, the gas tax would go up that amount as well to stay up with inflation, which has been the problem with our gas tax over the last 20 years. It has not kept up with inflation. So if that 6 cents were to pass, we would continue to maintain the system in its current state. If it doesn't, we're going to go with this 325 system, which we have a website, www.modot.org, where you can go on there. Right on the front page, it shows Missouri's bridges that are closed. I believe there's 5 in the state right now that are closed with no intention of opening those bridges back up because we don't have the funds to fix them. We expect that will get worse over years. Right now, on the Missouri supplementary roads, on page 7, we have 483 bridges that are in serious condition, which means it's a condition 3 or 4 on our rating system. 9 is a brand new bridge. Once it gets to a rating of 2, we close the bridge. And if it takes a minimal amount of repair that our maintenance forces can fix it, we will. If it won't, we'll close the road. It's happening every day, and it really hits home whenever your bridge is closed and you have to drive around it. So when we were out and about a year or so ago talking about Constitutional Amendment 7, which failed, which was a sales tax, and I think the campaign was not run very well. But it also, we definitely was hit with opposition that, that's an avenue for cities and counties to collect revenue for what they need to do in their city. And we definitely understood that. So here we are back with the gas tax, which is a true user fee. But when we were out talking to people, there were 4 things they wanted us to work on. They wanted us to take care of the transportation system we had, keep all travelers safe no matter the mode of transportation, invest in projects that spur economic growth and create jobs, and give Missourians better transportation choices. We are trying to do the best we can with the monies we have to maintain basically 8,000 miles of road. So right now on the supplementary system, that 26,000 miles of road I'm talking about 75% of those are in good shape. Within 5 to 6 years, there's only going to be 26% of those are going to be in good shape. They're going to deteriorate rapidly. Some of these roads will basically have to be turned back to a gravel road if we don't come up with funding. Here's this map that's in your packet. That's the 18-county central district area, which Cook County is part of. The blue lines are the primary routes that are in our district. Every county in the state has at least one primary road going through it. So for Cooper County, you'll see that it's I-70, Route 5, 41, and 45 up to Glasgow. Primary Road is a route that connects a city of 1,000 with another city of 1,000. It basically provides equity across the state between the urban areas and the rural areas. Not a lot of roads, 8,000 miles. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it's 8,000 miles of a 34,000 mile system. So what do we need? We need the 6 cents. We need the 2 cents per year, which I backed up. I already talked about the Hancock Amendment, limiting the amount of money that can be raised to the legislature without going to a vote of the people. 2 cents stays underneath that cap. If the 2 cents were to go through every year, what that means for the city of Boonville, 15% of the money goes to cities, 15% goes to the counties, and I believe Boonville's portion is $74,000 a year annually. Not a huge amount of money, but it does do something. So it actually, I think, it brings more money than Amendment 7 would have had it have passed. So, but just some statistics. The average family pays about $160 a month for electricity and natural gas, $160 for telephone and cellular service. I wish. $124 a month for cable, $47 a month for federal and state gas taxes. A 6 cent gas tax would basically mean about another gallon of milk for the average driver per month. Not a lot of money, but it does make a difference. If it were also to pass, we would no longer risk losing federal funds. So we'd have that money coming in. Our construction program would go back to up to normal levels where we could make an improvement to the system, continue to maintain it, and actually make additional improvements. We would also implement the cost share program again. I don't know, has the city of Boonville ever done a cost share with MoDOT? We've talked about it a few times, but cost share program is, we basically have $40 million a year that we had set aside in a pot of money that a city or county or local governing agency could come to us and say, we have a project on MoDOT system that we want to see funded, but it doesn't rank high on the Planning Commission, Mid-Missouri Regional Planning Commission's list of needs. So an entity could come to the table with 50% of the money, their project gets moved to the top of the list. We fund half, they fund half, the project gets completed. We've suspended that program because we need that $40 million to maintain the system that we have. But if the 6 cents were to go through, we would reinstate the cost share program. We would also be able to continue to make safety improvements, which you've seen on some of our routes like 87. We added 2-foot shoulders, put rumble strips. Everybody's not a fan of rumble strips, but they are a huge safety improvement. They definitely lower the number of accidents that we have, run-off-the-road accidents, where we have basically the majority of our fatalities occur on our supplementary system run-off-the-road accidents. That's the majority. So those have been a great benefit for not a lot of dollars, but we're not doing them right now because we don't have the funds. So I've said it right now, it needs to happen now because I don't believe anything will happen next year. So, you'd be 3 years out, you lose $167 million in fiscal year 17, 418, and then on down the line. But if we are to get 6 cents, let me tell you what the limitations are. That does not rebuild I-70. That continues to maintain I-70 in its current situation. Our governor keeps talking about toll roads on I-70. There's not a lot of appetite for toll roads on I-70, but even if it were, that would fix I-70. That would not fix the other 33,500 miles of road that we have on this system. It would free up about $70 million a year that we spend on I-70 maintaining it for other routes, but it's nowhere close to the money that we would need. So, nobody wants more taxes. I mean, I know that, but nobody also wants to drive across a road that's basically non-travelable. I mean, and we have those situations out there, and we definitely want to avoid that. And a couple of other things. We've been asked numerous times, why are you at the situation that you're at? Because you've spent that amount of money over the last 10 years. Is it due to bonding? We were required when Amendment 3 passed to bond those monies. So we're paying back those debts, and I believe they start decreasing in 2023 and are fully paid off in 2033. But we're paying $300 million a year in bond debt, which we were required to by the legislature. So there's part of our money. Yeah, we have a $2 billion budget, but when you start taking off all the things that come off the top, highway patrol comes off the top, bonds come off the top, operating costs, it just doesn't leave a lot of money. That's why we're at the 325 system. We've known this day was coming. We've known it for 5 years. We've been talking about it. MoDOT started the Boulder 5-year direction program in 2010, where we downsized 20% of our staff, over 1,200 employees, puts us at 5,100 employees, and we have no intention of going above that. We feel like we're right size for the 34,000-mile system. We can't decrease any more and put drivers in the seats to plow snow, because quite frankly, MoDOT is judged by how good we do at fighting snow. Always have been. I mean, it's just the way it is. So, 2,600 of those 5,100 employees are maintenance guys driving those trucks. So over 5 years, we've downsized that many people. We've sold 137 facilities, combined maintenance buildings. Not popular by any means. Nobody wanted to see a maintenance building that was close to them close. But we've closed and basically have only one maintenance building per county in the 114 counties. There are some exceptions out there. There are 3 in Callaway County. Nuclear power plant is one of those reasons, just due to the fact that it's not very accessible from Fulton. So that is an exception. We've sold off numerous pieces of excess right-of-way, and by doing so, we've saved $600 million over 5 years that we have put back on the road. But we cannot continue to cut money to maintain our system. There's just nothing left to cut. So we felt like we've been good stewards. The auditor's report came out last week, was not favorable for MoDOT. We can justify everything that was in there. No questions about it. When you're downsizing 1,200 employees, you had people on the books for a month to 2 months to get them to retirement. I think it was the right thing to do. So, what kind of questions does anybody have?
So you're saying 6%? Is that
6 cents.
6 cents per gallon?
Mm-hmm. Right now, we have a 17.3 cent state gas tax. One of the lowest in the nation. March 31st, Iowa passed a 10-cent gas tax on their self. They have 9,000 miles of road. We've got 34,000. That put them at 32 cents per gallon. We're at 17. Last day of session in the legislature in Utah, they passed a 5-cent gas tax. A lot of states around the nation are doing something to help their situation because there's concern that the federal highway is going to be insolvent and there's not going to be enough money. They've always in the past come up with some sort of continuing resolution to fund the trust fund, which the money comes back to the states. And there's even talk about raising the federal gas tax. If that were to happen, it'd be great, but it would make Missouri's situation worse because that would be more monies that we couldn't match. It's a huge system. We're 6th in the nation in the number of bridges. We've got over 10,400 bridges. There's over 10,000 bridges on the county system that we inspect as well. The counties have made great strides in improving their bridges through off-system bridge funds that are pass-through monies from the federal highway government through MoDOT. There's just not enough money to continue to maintain these routes. I'm trying to think of a close Lamine River Bridge over on Route M over by Blackwater. That bridge was the number 1 bridge in my area that I was going to have replaced if Amendment 7 passed. Now it's no longer even on the list because it's on the supplementary system. It closes. That route is an incident bypass route for I-70. If we have an accident out there, it'll just be closed, and traffic's just going to have to find another way around. Our detours will no longer be small detours. They'll be detour 54 at Jeff City, come up 50, come up 65. There'll be huge detours if we have those accidents. God forbid, but they do happen. Interstate 70 was built for a 20-year lifespan. We're well into the past 50 years. It's crumbling from the ground up, from the bottom up. It seems like it's in pretty decent shape. We go out there and we take pavement cores, and it's just rubble underneath. I mean, it is literally deteriorating. So we'll come in there and we'll do some sort of Band-Aid, for lack of a better word, where we'll take off 2 or 3 inches of asphalt, put it back, get another 5 to 7 years of life out of it. But at some point in time, we're going to have to rebuild I-70. 6 cents won't do it, but it's a start.
Any other questions for Mike?
Mike, is there anything that we can do individually or as a council to communicate what we're interested in?
Absolutely. You know, if this is something that the cities or counties or individuals are interested in, I would highly encourage you to talk to your local legislature, your representative, talk to your senators. Tell them you're in favor of it. I've been taking several representatives out and giving them a field trip, and I've been taking them to these Condition 3 and 4 bridges that are in their area and saying, look, here's a bridge that's in your area. And every representative out there has a bridge in their area that is in dire needs. And we take them down underneath and we say, look, here's a bridge that, you know, for roughly $25 to $45 a square foot, we can rehab this bridge and get another 25 to 30 years of life out of it. If we continue down the road where we're at, this bridge is eventually going to have to be closed, and then we're looking at $150 a square foot to replace the bridge if and when we come up with funds. So I would highly encourage you to talk to them. If it's something the city wants to support, you know, by all means, contact them, send them a letter. We just can't. And I had Representative Basie with me on Friday, and he said that they've really been getting a lot of calls, very encouraging. The Council of Mayors in the Kansas City area sent a letter. I think there was 140-some different mayors who voted unanimously to support this. We're not supposed to campaign, but it is a gas tax. It's a user fee. Our monies come from that. We don't get any money from general revenue. I heard one person say, well, don't worry about that. They will appropriate money out of general revenue to cover what MoDOT needs to match next year. All that does is take money away from somebody else, and people are going to be screaming about that. So, like I said, I mean, it's not a lot of money as far as the individual is concerned. Nobody wants more taxes. I'm right there with you. But when I look at what my cell phone bill is a month compared to what I'm paying in gas taxes, it's discouraging. We need a good infrastructure system. You know, for every dollar that's spent out there on our roads provides $4 worth of economic development. We've had study after study after study have shown that. Columbia, Missouri, we've spent on money and projects that we spent over there. We track the money that's come, the jobs that have come with it, and it's just, the money is there. It's 4-to-1 return on your investment. We cannot turn money back to the federal government. It's just, that is a dire situation that nobody wants to be in.
Right. Okay, thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you coming this evening, and felt this was a pretty compelling story that you had. So we'll discuss under miscellaneous how we want to proceed on this. So thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Thanks. We will proceed to new business. Item A, first reading of Bill Number 2015-014, approving final site plan of Rick Ball Chevrolet at 2500 Main Street.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving the final site plan of Rick Ball Chevrolet at 2500 Main Street, Boonville, Cooper County, Missouri, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item B, consider approval to award bid for wide area mower for Parks Department. There was a memorandum from Gary in your packet, and you have the information there. Gary, did you want to make any comments or just?
Not really. I think everything in your packet, I hope, is self-explanatory. If any of the council members have any specific questions, I'd try to answer them.
So you are recommending Seidenstricker with a low bid of $39,460.
Yes, ma'am.
With trade-in.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to do so?
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Okay, do I hear a second? Second. Okay. Susan, seconds. Any questions?
I have a comment.
Yes.
How long have you had the mower that you're replacing?
It's a 2004 model.
You know, I can remember when you got that mower, and I thought, there's no way that thing's going to last. And
It's been a good machine. It's got almost 4,000 hours on it. And what convinced me to decide to go ahead and replace it was when they told me the trade-in value was around $5,000 and the repair bill was going to be $7,000. So
Okay. Roll call.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
yes,
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Reports of standing committees. Boonville Housing Authority had no meeting this month. The Cemetery Board had no meeting. Parks Board had no meeting. Planning and Zoning, Becky.
I was actually absent at this meeting, but they basically went over the Rick Ball questions that were left from the prior meeting, and we've already taken action on that, or looking at the first reading here tonight.
Street, Alley, and Sanitation had no meeting, so we will move to reports of city officials. City Administrator.
Not a lot. I included the street inventory. We finished driving the streets about a week ago. There's the inventory and has some potential projects that we'll be working through the seals there. It does not include the concrete work. As we did that earlier back in December, trying to adjust our schedule on that. And so when we get the bid in a couple of meetings, I'll review that, but that will be the bulk of our work this year on some concrete street work. And we were trying to get it out. We over time, the timing had drifted toward the end of the year where we were sweating out getting it done before it snowed. So we decided to reset that and get started much earlier. So we'll have that for bid in another couple of meetings.
Okay. Any questions for Earl on that? No? Okay, the mayor, I have a couple of things. At the council's place, you had a Pick Up Boonville statistic sheet from Joan Reed. She was not able to be here this evening, but they had a very successful Pick Up Boonville on the 28th. Even though it snowed, every team showed up. Some of the volunteers didn't, like yours truly, but all the teams did show up. 216 participants, 31 teams, picked up 274 bags of litter, 61 bags of recyclable, 22 tires, and thousands of cigarette butts. The date for next year is the fourth Saturday in March. It's March 26th, so be sure and put that on your 2016 calendar. But as usual, Joan did a very great job. I want to thank the folks the City of Boonville does have a team, and we were kind of sparse this year, but I want to give a special gold star to Becky Ehlers, the only councilman who got out and picked up trash.
And I made the mistake of assuming we would have the same route we had last year, which was downtown Boonville, and I ended up in ditches out on Ashley Road.
Yes, for some reason we got switched from Main Street. Someone wanted Main Street, so she gave Main Street to some other team. So I said, well, who are we doing? And she goes, well, we're doing Ashley Road from Main Street to I-70. So I don't know how many miles it is, but anyway. Becky Ehlers, Karen McNeely, who works for the City of Boonville, and Barb Nell, who was sort of chaired it, were the three folks that showed up. And there were other councilmen that helped down at the depot, but they weren't in the ditches like Becky was. Becky gets special kudos today. You were in the smoky realms of cooking, yes, okay. You're excused. Also at your spot is a list of City of Boonville committee appointments for 2015. It's that time of the year when we're gearing up for all of those. I will tell you, all of these are people who said they would serve again. I don't believe there's any new names on here. I do still have 4 openings that people that I'm trying to get hold of, and they haven't returned my calls or whatever. So I really would like to get that approved this evening if I could get a motion to approve those names.
I'll make a motion to approve those
Let's let Henry.
That's fine.
Somebody's got to get used to it. Henry makes a motion. Is there a second to that motion?
A second.
Becky? Okay. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Okay. And of course, these are the people that go in our committee book. And Teresa, did you know you get to put together a committee book? Oh, okay. So we're lining up work for you. So anyway. Okay. City Councilor, Megan, city annexation.
Yes, I have an update. Congratulations to the City of Boonville and the City Council. We now have a judgment signed by Judge Kaufman approving our annexation down Highway 87 for 243 acres. The judgment actually takes effect in 30 days after the signature, so it will be effective on April 23rd. We have quite a little bit of work to do. As soon as that date comes along, we'll have all kinds of internal notifications, external notifications, formal notifications to all the folks in the area to be annexed. We already have had a number of meetings and will continue to in preparation, because on midnight of that night, we will take over certain emergency responses and so forth, so we will need to be prepared to do that. Majority of the other normal city services will come over a period of time, but we do plan on taking over a few of those items immediately. So congratulations. It took 9 years, but we finally did it.
Thank you very much, Megan, and thank you for all your work on that. You've been there for all those 8 years. Economic Development, Jim Gann.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'll direct your attention to the Economic Development Report and be available to answer any questions you might have, but I'd like to highlight several things. First of all, item 1A, your IDA and Municipal Facilities Authority, we've been working diligently to create a economic development strategic plan. It's going to be a very comprehensive document, and I think you will gain a lot from the information that we're collecting that will guide not only the MFA and IDA activities, but also help you in your public policy decisions. So that's been requiring quite a bit of time, but I think it will be well worth it. I'll skip down to item 6C. There's been a couple of events in response to the Nordine layoffs, and I provided for you in your packet the demographics of the Nordine workers that were the 240 plus workers. I thought you might find that interesting. We've been circulating that to prospective prospective employers. We did have a resource fair, which I think I told you about last month, at State Fair Community College. That was well attended for people seeking retraining. We also had a job fair at Boonville High School on 4/2, and we had 19 companies there recruiting Nordine workers. So I think that went very well. In Section 7, the project reports, this has been a very frustrating month for your economic developer. On item E is a project that we developed, to my knowledge, we're the only city in the state that is aware of this project. We solved some problems for this company and made a strategic case why they needed to be in Boonville, and they're now, and the main strategic reason is because we're west of their current facility, and so now they want to consider Kansas, because if this far west is a good thing, a little further west can be better. In their thinking. We're working diligently to correct that thinking, but that's a little annoying. And last month, item I, Project Snow, was one I was very enthusiastic about last month and almost giddy about. Well, the giddiness was somewhat short-lived. There will be an announcement probably of another mid-Missouri community where they'll be locating. But anyway, a good thing to come out of that is that the available buildings that we have that would have fit that project, I've had some discussion with the owners of those buildings, and we're likely to see some adjustment in what they're asking as a result of this. In the building sizes from 45 to 55,000 square feet, which are the same range as the Indico building and our spec building. There are 76 of those available in the database in the state of Missouri, and they range in rent rates from $1 per square foot per year to $5.25 per square foot per year. Ours are are priced currently at $4 a square foot. Warrensburg has, which is the closest geographically I could find, has what appears to be a nicer building for $2 a square foot. So I've made the owners aware of that, and they are reconsidering what their starting asking price is. So there may be some positive that comes out of that. Other than that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. In case you're wondering, sorry, there are 4 buildings that are comparable to the Nordine factory building, 2 in South Kansas City near the former Bannister complex, 1 in central St. Louis, and a 300,000 square foot building in Jefferson City that is older. So that's why I'm hopeful that that's more marketable. I might also tell you that I have a variety of inquiries into the owners of the bakery, and they've been kind of non-responsive on some proposals that are being made there. So I'll let you know as that develops, but that hasn't been very fruitful thus far.
Okay.
Any questions I can answer?
Okay.
Thank you.
Hang in there, Jim. City Clerk, Teresa?
The bulk waste pickup, it will be coming up next week. Advanced Disposal is offering the bulk waste collection for Boonville customers, residential Boonville customers inside the city limits. And it's going to be next week, April 13th through the 16th on your regular scheduled collection day.
And our next meeting is actually the signed eye.
On April the 14th, yes.
April 14th. It won't be our regular meeting date. It'll be a signed eye meeting on April 14th
And that's a Tuesday.
at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay?
This coming
Yes.
Week from tomorrow.
from tomorrow.
That's when the old go out and the new come in. So. Building inspector. I want, just as a little introduction here, I want to say a few things and then I'll turn it over to Earl. I actually asked Steve Haig to prepare this report. I think we all see what Steve does and know what he does, but even I, until I had a listing of all of the things that he does, had no idea the amount of minutia that he takes care of. And it's not just minutia, it's a lot of very important things. So to me, I found it very helpful to have this listing and to know exactly what was going on. So Steve, I thank you for putting that together. It's very succinct, it's very well done, and I thank you for doing that, and I'll kind of turn it over to Earl, and he'll make some comments.
Mayor, I don't really have much to add. I think we made an effort to show you the sort of the extraneous stuff that goes on in the department. You know, if it's sometimes the small projects, Steve ends up being an unpaid consultant on it in small towns. And there could be a lot of hand-holding and that sort of thing on that. So that's just one of many little side issues.
Okay. Any comments on that report?
I have a question. Regarding the dangerous buildings, the previous hearing follow-ups, where do we kind of stand with the Weaver property? Because I've been by there a couple of times, and it doesn't look like much of anything.
He kind of
has been
come
done.
to a standstill after our hearing.
Right.
And I think in the report you'll see I had several conversations with him just trying to get him in to get his permit, because that was one of the stipulations with the hearing. And then when he did finally come in to get it, he thought that's when his 120 days started. But he has come and got his permit, but as far as any work progressing, it's still, it just hasn't happened. So, and I think upon my judgment, and probably with a little bit of help from Earl to know when to pull the trigger, because we do specifically say that that work has to continue without any unnecessary delay. And I can't see any unnecessary delay at this point. We've had pretty decent weather for this time of year, and he's just not responded. So it'll be something I'll keep a pretty close eye on over the next couple of weeks, and we'll pull the trigger from there if nothing happens. So,
Okay.
anything else?
Thank you.
I have a question. What's going on Morgan Street over by Taylor's Bake Shop? I've had a couple comments on that, the toilet and the refrigerator.
Yeah, I've had, I always try and take the best route I can. I always try and visit with people first. And I did have 2 or 3 conversations. Kate was with me one day, and I stopped by. He was up there. Anyway, he is remodeling that building. I think the idea is he would like to open up another little restaurant in there. The construction part of it, it's moved along pretty good. It could probably be going a little quicker, but he has done a pretty nice job to where he's at. But he has, I think there was some problems with having a dumpster out on the front. He had a dumpster there at one time, and I think it got to the point to where it was an open dumpster for the public, and it wasn't getting filled as fast as we wanted it to see it get off the street. So we had the dumpster removed. So now he's to the point where he'll pile the trash up, he'll get a trailer come in. But we did send out a letter last week, I think. We sent out a letter because I've asked him 2 or 3 times to get that big cooler or whatever that is off the sidewalk and do a little better job of keeping that tidied up. So hopefully with this letter, we'll get a little better action out of it. So.
Thank you. Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you very much, Steve. Nice
You're welcome.
job.
Thank you.
Miscellaneous. Well, this is where we said we'd talk about the MoDOT proposal by Mr. Shoup, and what are your feelings on that? Would you like to see the city as a municipality write a letter in support of this program and to go to our legislators?
I would.
Okay. Is that pretty well general consensus? Okay. I have a couple of samples here that they've provided, and it'll be very easy to send that. So I talked to the county, and they have been in touch with their legislators, so they're very much aware of it and supportive of it also. So, but that certainly doesn't preclude you from expressing your own personal feelings on this, because it sounds like maybe they've got a little momentum going, and the more the merrier that you can get on the bandwagon. So anyway, I will take care of that and get it in the mail soon, Mike. Okay. Then I have, does anyone have any miscellaneous? Morse?
The CIP tax.
Yes.
That's very important that people gets out and passes that. I think there's been several good commercials on the radio and everything to explain how this money is used. One thing I've really missed is that it's used in our local agency funding also. We've got a lot of not-for-profit organizations. Without this tax passing, there'd be no funds for them.
Right.
So it's very important that the people gets out and votes for that.
Yes. Okay. Any other comments? No, I do have one thing I want to talk about. As Teresa said, our next meeting is a week from tomorrow. Our sign die when the old council is ushered out and the new council is sworn in. And unfortunately, I will not be here for that meeting, so I am not going to get to say goodbye to one of our very special councilmen next meeting. And that's Morris Carter, who is the only person I think that's been here longer than me. Well, maybe Henry. So I put down a few words I'd like to say about Morris. Morris has a lot of the qualities that you like to see in a council person. He's involved in the community and is willing to work to make it a better place. He's committed to his constituents and their voice. He's dependable and willing to attend meetings regularly. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but we have so many meetings, and I know anybody that sits on this council knows how many council meetings there are and additional committee meetings. And I can think of very few that Morris was not here for the meetings. It took a pretty big excuse for him not to be somewhere, and if he said he was going to be at a meeting, you can bet he'd be there, and he'd probably be there 20 minutes early. So anyway, that's a very good trait. He was always willing to take on the thorniest issues and do the work involved to resolve the problems. And not everybody likes to do that. A lot of people like to turn and run the other way. And when there were conflicts, he was always willing to talk about it with others, even to those on the opposite side. And I can tell you that from firsthand experience. He and I had many conversations over the years. He would be on one side and I would be on the other, but we were always willing to talk, and at the end of our conversations, we were still friends and still could discuss things quite civilly. So, Morris, we'll miss you, and although you'll no longer be on the council, I know for a fact that you'll still be very involved in the community and in a lot of the happenings. I don't know, there's 4 or 5 things he's working on right now to kind of help us out, the fireworks and flags and all kinds of different things. So he's still going to be around. He's just not going to be sitting there at the corner spot. So somebody's going to have to learn how to say second reading, title only. I don't know who's going to step forward to do it, but it's a big job. So you guys can decide on that while I'm gone. So anyway, Morris, thank you for all how many years have you been on the council?
Be honest about it, I don't know.
Okay.
It's been
A long
20
time.
plus.
A long time.
But it's been very enjoyable. I just like to really thank the citizens of Boonville for letting me represent them for all these years. And it's been great working with you, Mayor. It's been great working with the council, Megan, Earl. Even Teresa's coming up with some great ideas that I think I'm sorry that I'm not going to be here to enjoy them. But anyway, it's really been a pleasure to serve Boonville. And I'm still out there. All people's got to do is still call me.
We all know your cell phone number.
So just all I can say is thank you.
Thank you, okay? And just so you know, of course, Mr. Heaton did submit his resignation a couple of weeks ago, and I did send him a little note thanking him for all of his work that he had done. So anyway, if there are no other comments, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Right. Here we go, okay. We are adjourned. So what committee do you want to be on?